Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Women in Tech World Series. My name is Mona Patel, and I'm joined here by Michael Voegele, the Chief Technology Officer of Philip Morris International. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
Thank you, Mona. It's a great opportunity. Looking forward to the conversation we're going to have.
Our mission is to replace cigarettes with smoke-free products and achieve this as soon as possible. To achieve this mission, we are fundamentally transforming ourselves.
I think it's a unique challenge being part of a team that revolutionizes the industry, that takes the business upside down, that introduces new products to the market, products that really change people's lives.
Definitely want to ask some questions about this shift and how you're making that happen in the organization. But before we do, maybe just a little bit of a focus on what I believe is a passion area of yours, which is diversity. Why is it important to have a diverse workforce as you do this shift?
I think there's so many research that clearly indicate the benefits of a diverse organization. And I think PMI is no different in recognizing to be successful in this transformation, we have to be a consumer-centric organization. And when we want to be a consumer-centric organization, we also must reflect our workforce and how this workforce is set together with regard to the audience. And I think this business transformation will not be possible without a workforce that really represents also this diverse adult consumer base. And on a personal side, Mona, I'm a strong believer that not every person sees the things the way I do personally. Yeah. And this is okay. And I think I can recognize that this is okay. And it doesn't have to be that everybody thinks and believes the same things that I think about and that I believe. But I think getting challenged, listening to those different opinions and viewpoints that actually come from different past life experience, I think personally for me, this is enriching. It brings new viewpoints. It helps me to reflect. It drives me to make better decisions. And I can only get this if I'm inclusive and I have teams around me that are diverse, because otherwise I don't get those different viewpoints. But when you look at gender diversity, and again, it's the same thing. It's half of the world's population. Females actually do influence 60 to 70% of today's consumer spend. So why not tapping into this great talent pool as well and driving specifically diversity as part of that transformation journey that the organization is going through?
You just said, half of the world is women, but half of the workforce, half of the leadership is not women. Why are we having such a hard time getting women up into these roles?
Mona, if I would have that answer to that question, I think we wouldn't have the issue, right? Maybe let's take this from a personal angle, because I have been throughout my career being faced with challenge at the end of the day. And tech always has been an area of where we have struggled to actually really build a diverse workforce in all the organizations I've worked in. But, I came to a point where specifically for me, I figured out am I putting excuses in front of me to not strive and achieve a more diverse team, a more gender balanced team? Is it really impossible? And I think I came to the point, no, it's not impossible. Yeah, there might be challenges. But at the end of the day, if I don't actually drive this as a leader of the team, as a leader of the organization I'm working with, if I don't really put those excuses aside and say, yes, it's a challenge, but I love challenges and it's not impossible and we can actually do it, I think we will never change.
So Michael, let's talk a bit about change and drill down into that. How do you get people to embrace change at an organization?
Yeah, look, it's really about people, right? So companies don't transform themselves. Technology doesn't transform companies. Technology might disrupt companies, but change is really driven by people. People do transform companies. They transform companies through the culture and through their behaviors. I think I distilled two things that are really important and that we have at the forefront of actually supporting people to go through the change. The first one is confidence. Each individual has to understand the possibility of actually being able to achieve the target that we have set for the organization. Is it possible? Is it feasible to actually reach that goal? But the second piece is really about competence. Does each of the individuals have the right skills to be part of the journey and achieve the set goal? And when we look at confidence, confidence is really not just about communicating into one direction, but it is about creating the confidence through co-creation, to being inclusive and having everybody across the organization, independent of where they come from, where they work, in which grade they might sit in an organization, to become part of that discussion and also helping to define that target that we want to achieve. And the competence is really about heavy investment into learning. We really see that as a key element within the organization. We have set ourselves out there to actually become the fastest learning IT organization on this planet, giving people through what we call our IT Academy, a great toolbox and tools where they can actually tap into and learn every day something new, which is meaningful for them, but this is also meaningful for us within PMI to help people to feel competent and confident to achieve the goals that we have set as an organization. And that goal is very clear. It's delivering a smoke-free future, understanding that we are not ticking boxes here. Everything we do is going to create an impact in the world. It's going to create an impact. The how is as important to actually become a consumer-centric organization, to become a collaborative and inclusive organization.
There have been times where I've been the only female in a boardroom, the only female in the back room, before we do a talk, the only female at the bar, where everyone's having drinks. And that can be difficult. It can be difficult to have your own belief in your confidence and competence, and then also be the only one out there.
So in IT at PMI, it's really about how do we become one team? How do we actually create this one team approach? We are all part of one organization. We all follow the same purpose.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And I think the purpose that in PMI is very clear. How do we deliver the smoke-free world? We want to deliver a smoke-free world. So we have a clear purpose that we can strive for and that we can align the organization against. What is the impact that we want to achieve and how are we going to create that impact? It's about actually shifting that mindset from ticking boxes towards activities that create value and impact and that help and support actually achieving the purpose of the organization, which in our case is really to deliver the smoke-free world.
What makes a great leader? And then maybe in juxtaposition of that, what makes a great innovator? And are those the same or different?
Yeah, I think, a great leader or a great innovator. I mean, I always struggle with this innovation component because what is innovation really all about? Is it about, the next sliced bread? Is it something completely new? And I think a lot of people fall into the trap that innovation is only something which is completely new. I think innovation is about getting existing things put together in a different way, in actually seeing those opportunities. And I think if I would boil it down, what makes a great leader today or in the future, I think it's about one word that I always use also with my teams is, and I asked this question actually at the management meetings, are you still curious? Are you still curious? Because that means I listen to others. I look at things in a different way. I actually want to learn from others. So it creates something which is inclusive and lets others speak. It actually, curious also mean I'm interested to reflect. I might want to change my opinion or my direction. So when you boil it down to one single word, which I think really makes great leaders, it's curious people. interested in new or other ways of looking at things. I have been thinking about this a lot over the last couple of months, almost a year or two, and I always try to find that one distinct mindset. And I'm still uncurious, but I'm happy if there's people out there that even have a better idea or a different idea, to hear that and to discuss. But I think curiosity is at the core of it. It might be not the only one, but I'm curious to hear from others.
So Michael, clearly you are a leader. Clearly you are a visionary. Help us predict the future. What does the future hold for us?
Oh, it would be great if I could do that, Mona. But I think, there's two things that I'm actually looking at the moment, and that, really I'm curious about how this is going to look like. One thing is maybe more on the tech side of the house. So we see the convergence of two, I would say, great innovations. On the one side, the high performance computing. On the other side, the rise of AI and machine learning. And when those two things come together, I think it's a potential historic moment, almost like those historic moments in the past when we looked at the steam engine or the electric energy, that really fundamentally changed the society as a whole. And the second piece I'm really looking into and I'm trying to figure out how this is going to look like is when we look more from a people side of the house. I think with the COVID crisis, and all of us, many of us in our office work actually started to work from home. We use the collaboration tools that we have. But at the end of the day, we all have an advantage because we have been in an office. We have been physically meeting people. We had social engagements like offsites with the management team, or just having a beer down the road at the pub. I think we are in a situation where we have built something which I would call kind of a connection, a network, where we know each other in our professional lives at our workplace, but also outside of that workplace. And when I look now into the huge opportunity that we now have with basically not being tied anymore to locations when we search for the best talent in this world, but actually potentially can tap around the world in all those talent pools and these diverse perspectives of people around the world. But still, how do we bring them into the organization? How do we make them part of this network? How do we really then continue to be as inclusive as we are already today?
I have so many takeaways in my head from this conversation with you. And so maybe I'll just share those to close this off. What I'm so inspired by is three things, I guess. One is what you just said at the very end. It's such a great example of a leader seeing a problem as an opportunity. Here we are going to hire new people who have not met us before. And everything you're saying frames this as the opportunity. The other thing that I'm taking away is the focus on intrinsic motivation and purpose. It brings us all together as one team, whether you're a large organization or a small organization. If you're a team of, one, or if a team of many, I'm sure there's all kinds of women joining, all kinds of people joining this. Probably the biggest reminder for me is your 3 C's, competence, confidence, and curiosity. What do I know how to do? And, how can I ground in that? How can I show people that I know what I'm talking about and feel that collective confidence in me through my competence? And then where am I, maybe because of fear, just not being curious enough? These are such great takeaways for women and diversity, but people in general, to help move organizations forward. So thank you so much for sharing those with us, for inspiring us. I'm sure there's lots of questions and things that everyone has, but I think if you just take away those things, it's such a great way to start or end your day. So thanks so much.
Mona, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.